Welcome to Aging on the Suncoast. I'm your host, Jason Martino. The month of April marks continuous celebration and recognition of volunteers and their contributions. The nation celebrates National Volunteer Appreciation Week, and the state of Florida honors volunteers with a Florida Volunteer Recognition Month. It's only fitting that we spend some time today talking about volunteerism within the senior community. The Corporation for National and Community Service reports that between 2015 and 2016, the state of Florida had more than 12,000 individuals volunteering to meet local needs and with an estimated 2,100 locations. While these numbers are amazing, they only make up one piece of the entire volunteerism community. On the first half of our show today, we'll have Diane Cunningham, Assistant Elderly Nutrition Manager with the Pasco County Elderly Nutrition Program, and Sandi, Narron, Director of Marketing with Neighborly Care Network. On the second half of our show, we'll meet Joy McRae-Fox, Service Coordinator with the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. Together, our guests will convey what volunteering means at the local level. We're devoting this month's show to a former guest and Director of the Retired Senior Volunteer Program in both Pinellas and Pasco counties. Greg Rose worked tirelessly to recruit, place, and support volunteers within the community. It's only appropriate that we continue his legacy by highlighting the tremendous resources he was so proud of. Diane, welcome back to the show. Sandi, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and we did the show last year, and we wanted to highlight it again because of the tremendous need for volunteerism with the community. So I'll just start with a broad question. Why do we need volunteers in the community?
Well, they're always needed and always appreciated. That's our theme this year for our volunteers. Because of financial situations with especially with county government and priority being placed on other things that are mandated, we rely more heavily upon volunteers to supplement all the things that we do in Pasco County Elderly Nutrition. And since the downturn of the economy, we've lost a lot of staff, and those volunteers do a lot of work that staff used to do. Yeah. So with the number of meals and the things that we do in our program, it's just volunteers are critical.
Yeah,
to us.
You're absolutely correct. We're in lean times.
Yes, we are.
Constantly being pressured to do more with less, and what better to tap into is the amazing resource of volunteerism and what they bring to the table. Sandi, what's a volunteer individual look like at your agency?
A typical volunteer for Neighborly is someone who's retired, because we're asking them to go out and do Meals on Wheels during the day, so they need to be retired. We have a lot of couples that do it, husband and wives that go out and do it. It's a lot of fun for them to do this. And we also have some corporate volunteers, which might surprise people. We have Publix, Raymond James, some other places that let their people out during the day while they're working and deliver meals for us. So it's a win-win for both of us.
Yeah, total win-win. Great partnerships that you guys have set up. Pasco County the same?
It's very similar. The only other partnerships that we do, we recently partnered with Suncoast ARC, and we're using mentally challenged adults to deliver meals for us, and the ARC staff will drive the van, and the development disabled adults will ride along and deliver the meals. It's a win-win situation for us to use these partnerships with people. You have to be very creative in using volunteers because the need is greater and greater.
Yeah, sounds like a little bit of mutual reciprocity going on.
Yes, there is.
So let me put myself into an example. Let's say that I was I just retired, and I was thinking about volunteerism. What types of things should I be thinking about as a person wanting to get back into the community? Sandi?
Basically, what type of time commitment do you have to give?
Oh, yeah.
For Meals on Wheels, we ask for 1 day a week. That's it. So it's not a big time commitment.
Right.
Ours is during the day again, like I said, so you have to be available during the day. You would have to have a driver's license and a car that could go deliver the meals. You have to have your own insurance. We do provide insurance over and above anything that might happen, but it would be your own insurance. And we do background checks on all of our volunteers because we're sending them into our clients' homes, so we want to know that they're safe, our clients are safe. And basically just your time. That's what we need.
Yeah. So the individual has to think of things of why they would want to commit on a personal level, but the agency obviously has to be thinking about the commitments too. Diane, anything to add on what Pasco County sees as commitments?
It's very similar, but one of our mottos is, if you've got the wheels, we got the meals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we try to tailor. We interview the volunteer when they come on board and tailor their talents to our need and match it up.
Yeah.
And that usually works very well for us.
That's a great point, and I think we were talking about that prior to the show, how dreadfully important it is to recognize what that person's skill set is and or their ability to want to learn different things. But obviously you want to place them in an environment and into a responsibility that's going to either meet the need of what they've done before and or what they're able to do now and there. So you all operate two pretty large nutrition programs throughout Pinellas and Pasco County. What do volunteers do for your nutrition programs in Pasco County?
Well, they can do anything from front office work, clerical work, copying, typing, computer work, that kind of thing, to working in our congregate dining sites, senior centers, where they might call bingo or serve a meal or clean up afterwards, to home delivery. And then we have special event volunteers where they go out, where we do a lot of outreach into the community. They will help us and assist us man the tables and give out information. And we train them for all of those types of volunteer work.
They just do so much. And I was always fortunate that I was able to visit both of your organizations at a different time and space for me, and I got to see that firsthand.
Yes, you did.
And I think that that helps me recognize that importance on there. And Sandi, you and I were talking a little bit earlier. Another way I think that you can recognize that importance is you were a volunteer at one point in time. Do you want to talk about that?
Exactly. I'm a volunteer now. I'm sort of semi-retired, so not having to work full time, I decided it was time I give back a little bit myself. So every Friday I do a route. And it's very different when you're on the other side of it. You know, when I'm training our volunteers, I'm telling them what to expect, but when you go out there, it's a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
You get very attached to your clients.
I bet.
You know, I have, and you see a big change in them. I have one client who, when I first started going to him, the route sheet said that he would be very slow to the door, you know, give him plenty of time. And so the first day I went there, I did, and it did. Took him a long time to get to the door. He was unlocking it. It sounded like there were 10 locks, but there really weren't. There's just one. He just was a hard time getting it open. And when he opened it up, he was stick thin, just so thin. And now I've been delivering to him for about 6 months, and he gets to the door quicker. He's put on some weight, so I'm really pleased with that. Yeah,
and I think sometimes we neglect to remember that a lot of individuals, I think that the facts that I know, in Pasco County, it's roughly around 30% people that are 60 or older, and same for Pinellas County, very similar demographics.
Yes.
And of that 30%, an additional 30% are living by themselves. And that's a very tenuous situation for a lot of folks. So if these folks are enrolled in your programs and they're receiving a home-delivered meal, that's an extra opportunity for a volunteer to have that welfare check, if you will, or just bring about conversation or understand what's going on with those people. It's
just another point I've neglected to mention, too. One of the other programs that we have that not a lot of people know about is our Cindy's Pets pet donation program, where we deliver pet food to our clients. And this local school and their students all volunteered, get together to team up to go out to these clients and deliver on a weekend pet food.
Yeah, so it's not only seniors that are being volunteers,
No.
you're working with children too.
Yeah.
Impacts. Let's talk about that for your agency. Diane, why don't you tell us, what kind of positive impacts do volunteers have on your agency?
Well, I think we, financially, definitely, but they add a flavor to the agency, their own personalities, their own talents, and the teamwork that they contribute to us in all phases of our program. It just makes a huge difference in what we do, and we're able to enhance our services because of them.
That's great. And Sandi, volunteers obviously have to be receiving some positivity as well. What do volunteers experience by doing the things that they do?
They do. What I find is, again, you get so attached to your clients, and so that gives them a good feeling of I'm doing something for someone. It's just a great feeling to go out there and know you're helping somebody when they need it.
Yeah, I think we've seen some facts that volunteerism will increase that person's health positively.
The lifespan, I mean, yeah.
Lifespan, there's a lot of different things. So we touched on it very lightly, but what are some of the activities that they can do for your agency? We talked about clerical and we talked about administrative, and a lot of people that come with some pretty extreme skill sets may be able to offer advisory counsel opportunities too, right?
We also have our daycares where we have entertainers come in.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Come in and entertain our clients, sing, bring dancers in, and our clients love it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And then I'm going back to the disabled adult. Even if their skill set is low, we always can find something for them to do that's going to benefit us. For instance, if it's a disabled adult, we have a blind person who wraps the napkins around the cutlery that we have, and that's all he's able to do, but he feels like he's making a difference, and it certainly helps us.
Yeah. Sandi, last year we talked about Neighborly Care Network's 50th anniversary, which we think is phenomenal. Neighborly is still strong and going on, so I'm 51. Imagining you have a 51st something?
But just with our sites, we're not going to have anything as big like we had last year, but just for our sites, we'll celebrate again, 51. Yeah. Plus, we're celebrating, of course, Volunteer Month. We're putting signs around our places, you know, encouraging our volunteers and thanking them and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, continual recognition.
Exactly.
And you always have some big events for recognition, too.
We do. We have an East Side and a West Side volunteer banquet where they get a nice meal, and we invite all the dignitaries to do some speeches, and we always give out a gift, and we solicit the community to give door prizes that we can give away, and we have nice entertainment, and the volunteers love it.
Yeah, and I've had the luxury of making some of those events over there too. It's well attended. I think if I was scanning the crowd, I must say there was about 200, 300 people at that event.
On each side, yeah.
Yeah, and you hold one on the east side of Pasco and on the west side of Pasco too. Let's create another picture of what a volunteer looks like. Diane, I heard you say that you're working with kids, and you're also working with seniors too, and they're bringing obviously their skills into in play. And then I thank you for bringing up the fact that it's not just nutrition programs that volunteers can serve in that capacity. And I think that we sometimes omit the fact we get so busy with our day-to-day work, either if we're working in the administrative environment or working in the clerical environment, that a lot of people they work that for a number of their years of their lives. And so we would value that opportunity for them over there.
Right. Yeah, they feel like they're giving back. They're not just sitting at home. I'm retired now. I used to sing. I used to do this. And so I can go out and I can really help people if I go to these sites and do that.
Yeah.
So.
Diane and Sandi, I'm so glad you came on the show. I'm glad we were able to recap a lot of the neat things that we talked about last year, and hopefully you guys can come on next year as well. Please stay with us while we take a short break. As usual, don't forget to have a pen or pencil ready. During the break and at the end of our show, we'll be running contact information for all our guests, including the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, which we'll be talking about when we come back.
Sarah is 64 and loves to garden, but recently her health insurance ran out, leaving her worried about more than just weeds. With pre-existing health conditions, Sarah's chances of finding good coverage were low. So she called the Elder Helpline and spoke with a SHINE volunteer counselor. The Department of Elder Affairs SHINE program provides free, unbiased counseling on health insurance for those on Medicare. More information is available about SHINE or how you can volunteer at 1-800-963-5337.
Welcome back to Aging on the Suncoast. During the first half of the show, Sandi Narron and Diane Cunningham helped us understand what senior volunteerism looks like in their agencies. Let's continue this important discussion and take a look at another volunteer program operating in both Pasco and Pinellas counties. Joy, welcome to Aging on the Suncoast.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you for those nice words about Greg.
Oh.
He will be dearly missed.
He was a great man.
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
Let's talk a little bit about your agency and where the Retired Senior Volunteer Program works under. It's Pinellas Opportunity Council,
Correct.
right?
And Retired Senior Volunteer Program is one of their programs. Pinellas Opportunity Council is a community action agency. They've come around they've been here since 1968, I should say. And they're part of a larger network that does all kinds of services. So we're lucky it's a good partnership.
Yeah.
Yes.
1968, that's been around a long time now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So now let's go into your program, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, and I'm going to try to eliminate all the acronyms that we like to do. I know we
True.
like to call it RSVP.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the Retired Senior Volunteer
Well,
Program.
and that's funny. I'll break down the acronym. Retired, no, not necessarily anymore, because they moved the age back to 55 and over.
Yeah.
Okay. Senior, yes, but that always gets a new definition every other year. Volunteer, yes. And programs, it's amazing the number of things that Retired Senior Volunteer Program is involved in. We recruit, place, and support seniors 55 and over in local nonprofits to help them do their work.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Sandi and Diane were talking about.
Exactly.
Is that they need help doing the work that they need to do, and you're there to help out with those things.
That's a key thing, and it's a national program. The corporation, here we go with more acronyms, but the Corporation for National and Community Service supports not only this program, but others that you might be more familiar with. Foster Grandparent, AmeriCorps, Vista.
Yeah.
So it's a nationwide approach to volunteerism.
Yeah, you're right. So you said it's a national program, which tells me that it's in each of our 50 states. For the state of Florida, is this program in each of our 67 counties?
It's not, and some of our programs have to span counties. So it's not in every county, but they do between the corporations, other senior corps programs, foster grandparents, several other of the AmeriVista programs. There's certainly one from the national level in every county, but not all RSVP.
No, that's a shame. But certainly your RSVP program is able to serve Pasco and Pinellas counties. I remember in talking to Greg last year, you guys were well delved into Pinellas County, and that you had took over contract in Pasco County, and you were starting to make that happen. So let us know, what kinds of things were you able to accomplish in the last year or so with your program?
Well, what we're accomplishing up there is addressing the needs of the large veteran population. Of course, we have that in Pinellas as well, but services to veterans and mentoring and tutoring of youth. Our most successes have been with providing volunteers for the veterans organizations. Everybody has heard about the VA and some of their problems. So one of the key accomplishments I think we can do is complement their staff. You're not going to get a paid staff position to be a greeter, you know, to help people find their way through the hallways. But a volunteer can do that who is a veteran, who can identify. So it's those kind of things.
Excellent points. And we do have a pretty rich population of veterans that live in Pinellas and Pasco County. And we have a rich population of seniors that also live in our county, too. We talked about that a little bit earlier. 30% of our population in both counties are people that are 60 and older. Is that the typical volunteer that you're working with, is a senior?
It is. Of course, they have to be 55 and over.
That's right, you said.
But they're not necessarily retired anymore. I talk to large groups and encourage people to think about volunteering before they actually retire, you know, so they can try out a couple things. Let's face it, people don't retire at 55 anymore.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I think people are starting to work well into their
So
mid-70s.
my group is usually 60 when they start signing up with me. Maybe they've had their couple of years of running around the world, you know, and now they need to settle in and give back and find what their niche is.
Good. Good for them. Good for you, too. On the first part of the show, we were talking to Sandi and Diane Cunningham, and we were going over ways that they like to recognize their volunteers. What ways do you recognize your volunteers that you're working with?
One of the ones that is well known, and most all organizations do, is a recognition award type event. Ours last year in Pinellas was over 300
Wow.
guest. So that was very nice and very much appreciated. And as Sandi and Diane said, entertainment, prizes, gifts. But the more important way to recognize a volunteer effort is to make sure you make the right match, is to learn what they want to contribute, you know, what is going to be the good match for them, so it will be an ongoing commitment.
Mm-hmm. And when you and I were talking before the show, you were saying that out of the wealth of volunteers that you have, there's certain volunteers that want nothing to do with being recognized for that piece.
Exactly.
You want to talk about that?
I do, because volunteerism on one hand is altruistic. You know, you do it. On another hand, you do it to contribute. You also do it to feel good about yourself, to feel connected to your own community. And many of our volunteers, please, don't spend the money on the pins. Don't buy me a meal. I'm good. I'm solid. You know, put it back into the program. So again, that's why I say the best recognition is knowing what would fulfill them, what kind of work you can make that magic match with.
Yeah. As an area agency on aging, we employ some, not employ, but we utilize volunteers for our SHINE program. And we have around 60, 61 different volunteers that are totally skilled in with health benefits and how to help other people navigate with that. And we acknowledge and recognize them very similar to Pasco County Elderly Nutrition and Neighborly Care Network and your program as well. But there are some that just will not attend our events on there because they just don't need to do anything with it.
And we're a nonprofit. They don't want us spending money. They're trying to help us save money. So it makes sense.
That is exactly right. They are thoughtful about our finances as well. How does your program and or POC understand the impacts that volunteers are doing in the community, the positive impacts for them?
There are very positive impacts. I know I mentioned you can't get a paid position for a greeter, but we have a lot of volunteers at Bay Pines. We have volunteers up at the James Haley outpatient clinics. So some of the accomplishments are indeed being able to make the services better for the community that comes in. Some other accomplishments are the Guardian Ad Litem program. They're always begging for volunteers, but that takes a commitment. That takes some training, and so it's a constant need to recruit for that agency. We can help in that effort. Our job, recruit, place, and support, you know, so they're not spending their valuable time always having to do recruiting.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about, well, not the show, but before the show, when we were getting to know each other a little bit better. We were talking about a lot of the priorities that you have to work with, and we were talking about the different types of urgent needs that are out in our community. And I do recognize that communities are so different that your needs are different from county to county and sometimes city to city. Let's talk a little bit about the urgent needs that you know of within our community and how you're trying to fill those gaps with your volunteer corps.
Sure, and I'm going to add to there about getting skill-based volunteers to help us with those urgent needs. The corporation, all these acronyms, the corporation is trying to do a national approach. It's a strategic effort. So in Pasco and in Pinellas, the needs are to help youth succeed in school. The needs are to provide services to our at-risk veterans of being homeless, for homeless veterans, for any veteran service agencies. Those are the urgent needs. And we definitely need to make that happen so that there are not people falling through the cracks.
Yeah, and those are the highest priority urgent needs, but you recognize that there are other needs out there too that you're
And so does the corporation on a national level. Disaster preparedness. You're familiar with Recover Pinellas is trying to get established. Pasco Rebuilds Together is trying to be a collaborative effort. It needs to bring all the players together and figure out how it can be a comprehensive approach to a community problem.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point with the corporation having to strategically plan that. With so many needs in the community out there, and you can pick 15 to 20 of them, but to have what your funding levels will offer for you, and you can only pick so many that you can actually accomplish. And then obviously, like we were talking about, we were talking about the fact they would have to prioritize. So the two that you mentioned, the education with the children out there and the veteran services out there is going to be a big one. So if I was a volunteer, and I brought this scenario up before, and I said to myself, you know, I really want to give back to the community, what would be advantageous for me to choose your program over any of the other ones that are out there?
Well, one of the really good reasons is of the strategic approach. The other one, we offer mileage reimbursement. It's minimal. It's not going to, you know, pay for repairs on your car, but it's a support. It's a recognition part of the membership. There's certainly liability insurance traveling to and from volunteer stations. There's the recognition event. There is the idea of being part of a national movement. There is a part of the solution.
Yep.
So I think most people you can go to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which we've had good success with. You can go to these, but to make it a collective effort, the more people we have joining collectively and the identified needs, the more successful we're going to be.
No, I think you're right, and I love your notion of being a part of a national movement. It's not just one individual doing all the work for the many. You have many, many individuals that are sometimes overlooked, and so they're a part of a movement of people that want to get back. And as the baby boomers come of age and they start to retire, your population of volunteer corps is going to increase, and you're going to have a lot more people wanting to come and give back as well.
Right, and the baby boomers are going to be a little bit of a different volunteer skill.
Yep.
You know, they're going to want to do more. They don't want all that years of experience and education going to waste.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make that happen.
Yeah, Joy, we have just about 45 seconds left, and I understand that you brought a pledge that you'd like to read.
I did. Thank you,
Would you like to
Jason.
read it for us?
I would. I think it'd be a nice ending. And anybody this identifies with, call the number. I will get things done for America to make our people safer, smarter, and healthier. When faced with a pressing challenge, I will bring Americans of all generations together to strengthen our communities. Children at risk, I will help them stay in school and on track for a brighter future. Older adults in need, I will provide support and compassion so they may age with grace and dignity. Working for the greatest good, I will use my lifetime of experience to improve my country and my community. I am a senior corps volunteer, and I can get things done.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
That's great. I think it's wonderful. And Joy, I admire your passion for this, and I think you're pretty wonderful as well. Hopefully you can join us sometime next year, and we're going to end the show with, we hope you enjoyed this month's broadcast. We also hope this episode sparked your interest to pursue volunteering with any of the agencies on the show today. Maybe, as an organization, you'd like to utilize senior volunteers in your place of business. At the end of the show, we'll run contact information again, so please get your pencil ready. We'll see you next month, and until then, please maximize all the opportunities within our community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
James is 70 and a writer whose joint pain has been a story in itself. His doctor prescribed a new medication that may not be affordable, even with James's Medicare Part D plan. James called Shine. Shine volunteer counselors can guide you to money-saving prescription assistance programs, including a program that helps pay Medicare Part D plan costs for limited-income seniors. Shine costs nothing but could save you time and money. More information is available at 1-800-963-5337.